Hi, welcome. Okay, this is a collective reading. I'm going to pull a card to signify your energy or the reading itself. So what is the collective? What is the collective's energy right now? So we have the Midas touch. And I'm going to read this because it is connected to, this one is a major arcana, but it's connected to a tarot card. Okay. Beauty and the Beast. Here we go. Throughout the evolution of tarot, this card has usually been portrayed as a female figure, sometimes blindfolded, representing cosmic justice, sitting upon a throne holding a sword of spiritual power in her right hand and the scales of divine justice in her left hand. This goddess of wisdom, known as Themis in ancient Greece and Mot in ancient Egypt. As one moved toward the afterlife, there was a need to balance one's accounts and be weighed in the celestial scales of the human soul. The children's story of the Midas touches a profound teaching on this subject. In the tale, King Midas has a beautiful daughter whom he loves very much, but closer to his heart is his desire for gold. One day, while he is counting his wealth, a stranger appears and asks him what he would like more than anything in the world. The king, without forethought, abruptly asks that everything he touched become gold. The mysterious stranger tells him that by the sunrise the next day his wish will be granted. As the first rays of light enter the king's chambers in the morning, the king is astounded to see that his wish has indeed been granted. A chair, his bed, and even the glorious roses in his garden turn to gold at his very touch. However, his daughter, who loved the roses, runs to her father, terribly upset at the sudden turn of events. The king reaches out to comfort her, and shockingly, she turns to gold as well. Beside himself with grief, the king once again encounters a stranger who asks the mighty ruler if he has learned his lesson. King Midas begs that the golden touch be taken away. The stranger tells him to dive into a pool of water in the garden with a special vase and fill it with water from the depths of the pool. This represents the ritualistic cleansing of his sins and pride. Midas is told that if he pours this water on everything that has been turned to gold, all his precious objects will once again be restored to their natural state. Sure enough, the stranger's words hold true, and King Midas is able to bring his daughter and the beautiful roses of the garden back to life. The clear moral of this fairy tale is that there is something much more precious and close to our hearts than material wealth or gold, the beauty and sacredness of life all around us. Another lesson is to think ahead concerning the implications of your acts, for your innermost wishes may very well come true, causing more grief than happiness. When this card appears in your reading, the time has come for you to recognize the values that govern your life and understand how those principles reflect the choices you make each day. Do you live according to a balanced code of ethics, or are you overburdened by an imbalanced view of the world? This is a time to set things right and live according to the higher plan, where goodwill is extended to all. We all have the Midas touch available to us, but it is crucial that we learn to use his power well. We have at our fingertips the ability to shape the world with fairness and integrity. Remember that all actions and deeds come around in full circle, for the law of karma are infinite and honest. True wealth is forever buried within the hearts of those who are generous and empowered with the virtue of justice. Okay, there's just one thing. Okay, so all of that's obviously still very, very true. And with this card, I think what we're seeing is this collective is taking a moment to evaluate what you have been putting on your vision lists and your desired dream board, like however you get in touch with that innermost sacred part of your soul. And however you kind of plan or carve a path for your energy in life to move through, you've been taking some inventory, because it looks like where you've been putting a lot of energy and attention hasn't actually been the place that you've been needing to put it. Like there is a deeper, more vulnerable and simple desire that you want. So maybe you've been focusing a lot on work, a lot on like trying to make money, or maybe you're trying to focus on changing jobs, like whatever it is for you, there's something that's been imbalanced there, and there's something else in your life that needs attention. This card is also really speaking to recognizing that there's like a wish or a pull or a desire or a belief in you that is telling you you're not good enough and telling you that you really need to change. It's telling you that kind of the opposite of this, like everything you touch falls apart, everything you bring into your life, you like lose it, or it turns into quicksand, or there's just this feeling of like ruin, and that actually isn't true. But more importantly, because of this belief or because of these experiences, you have been craving the Midas touch. You've been craving like to be the person who walks out into the world and everything you touch turns to gold. Like there's just bounty and bliss everywhere. And that really isn't helpful either. And we really see exactly how unhelpful that is in this myth. And so there's this way where your beliefs and like, in yoga, when you're doing a balancing pose, they say to focus on, get a drishti, or focus on like one point that you can just put all of your energy and attention toward. They're asking you to change your drishti, like change your focus. Your focus has been imbalanced. It's either been like light or dark. And they want you to have a more integrated, real, grounded, practical, like vision or North Star. Okay, let's pull some tarot and see what they have to say. Ooh, I'm not going to take those. Okay, I'll take those. Oh, I need like 2 or 3 more. So the first one at the top is Queen of Swords, which I always love to see. She's so fierce and has so much mental clarity and mental fortitude. But not only that, she's directing things. She's like connected to this non-rational, instinctual self that defies all logic. And even though Swords is the sign of air, which really is connected to thinking, communication, and like our mental state, this is beyond all of that. This knowledge and this clarity is coming from a much deeper place, but it's playing out in the way that she's thinking, how she's moving through the world, the decisions that she's making. Okay, and then we have 9 of Cups. So some of you are very happy with yourselves. Some of you feel very proud, and you want to show off all of the work that you've done. And I think the most important thing to do here is to tell yourself, like to recognize just within your own world, either by journaling or sending yourself, like recording a voice memo just for yourself, like recognize how far you've come, because you're proud and you have a lot to show for how hard you've worked thus far to have a lot of evolution in your life. Okay, and then we have 6 of Wands. So I see victory and travel here, and this might represent like the journey that you've been on thus far. But certainly even more victory and celebration, and like being with friends, or starting to be around people that can really see your depth and they revere the sacred part of you the way that you do as well. And we have 2 of Pentacles. So there's a lot of moving, free-flowing energy here. There's really great balance. And then we have the High Priestess. And so yeah, I think there are still some things that are hidden that we want to bring to the conscious mind. So let's see. I'm actually going to do an archetype oracle. So what does the High Priestess represent in this reading? The desert. Okay, that's interesting. And Thanatos. Okay, I'm gonna read both of these because I don't have such a deep relationship with them. I mean, when the desert first came out, I always think of Laloba, the myth of Laloba, and I think a lot about the women who run with wolves from Clarissa Pinkola Estes. And basically it's saying like we've gone on this epic journey, and the metaphor is like maybe the family that we grew up with, our family of origin, wasn't nourishing. Like they couldn't see us for who we really are. They weren't able to reflect our brilliance and our gifts, and it was such a dry, desolate place, but yet our life persisted, and we came, you know, to adulthood, and now we have choice, and we can choose where we spend our time, our attention, our energy. And we saw that a little bit in the Six of Wands, right? And the Two of Pentacles. Like there's more free-flowing energy, which means you have more access to your inner light, meaning you're acting from your core essence, and you are attracting or being attracted to people who have been on similar journeys, who have similar values, all of that stuff. But excuse me, let's read Thanatos, and I hope I'm saying that right. Obviously it's Greek. It is tempting to oversimplify death and sum it up as transformation. But the true archetypal resonance of Thanatos cannot be easily assimilated or contained. Death is ongoing and omnipresent, an eternal response to the gift of birth. Witnessing the ending of another being, creature, phase, or stage has deep consequences for the psyche. We are forever changed by Thanatos as it sweeps us under its wings, making us relinquish control in every form. It leaves a mark of ash upon our heart, signifying we have touched the cusp of the underworld and will return to the land of living eventually, with more compassion and wisdom to share. This capacity is indeed in our world. This capacity is needed in our world. One who has faced the annihilation of Thanatos can face anything. When this card appears, it signifies an initiation into the underworld. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. I'm gonna read the desert, because why not? The desert leaves us disoriented, desperate for direction, grasping for meaning, longing for solid ground. For endless miles we are confronted with a lack of clarity and existential dread. We are thirsty, hungry, pleading with life to get back to normal, to become animated by the simple pleasantries of day-to-day life. The desert offers no such comfort, and all must pass through it. If you can embrace the discomfort of the desert, knowing you will someday reach water again, you can tap into the potent energy of the landscape. Its lights are blindingly bright, and its darks are terrifyingly deep, which makes for unbridled creativity and clairvoyant visions. Truths reside in the desert that otherwise remain hidden. The crows, the shadows, the coyotes' calls surround you. Let the wind and sand work their deep magic, weary traveler. When in the throes of the desert, contemplate the following. You are not alone. You have more supplies with you than you think. Water is very near. Okay, so, and I love that these three cards are the foundation for like the clarity, the celebration, this new chapter of your life that you really have been initiated into. And I think it's what really the story we're seeing here is it's important to be with both truths. So if you have like these deep down days, either where you can't get out of bed, or you're feeling pretty antisocial, or you're just feeling down, depressed, hopeless, whatever it is, it's important to have balance with that, and knowing like you're deeply supported, you're divinely guided, you have everything that you need, you're not alone, right? Like all of the clarity that we have found with seeing the Queen of Swords present in this reading. And yeah, I don't know if there is a part of you that is like rejecting this, but I think there's something buried a little bit deeper around the grief of this phase passing. And so this may be calling you to journal or reflect, or just hold the inquiry in your heart around, like, there has been so much beauty in my life, even in the hardship. And to be able to kind of look back on the past and look back at it with loving eyes and see if there's a way, or if there's something within that story that you actually really cherish. And so it's like having a reverent relationship to the hardship and to the places where you were struggling. So we have 10 of Cups. I want to show this to you. This is major wish fulfillment. We have King of Wands. Three of Wands. And then the Chariot. Okay, and with these cards, really what we're recognizing is I'm focusing on the Chariot, and I put it just below, the High Priestess. And both of these cards have so much duality in them. There's also so much abundance in both of these cards as well. And they really signify the relationship between the light and the dark, the relationship between the moments where we can't see what's coming, or we're grasping for clarity when we don't have any, and the moments where we have the clarity, we're feeling really good, we're feeling, a part of life and thriving and moving. And what's coming through here is focusing on recognizing when you're in those death portals, or when you're in those down moments, or feeling like you're in the desert without a resource. It's to slow down and accept where you're at. Because when you accept where you're at, and you accept the death that's coming to pass, the change, the getting older, the phases that we move through in life, when you accept those things, you can be with what is a little bit easier. And when we settle down and find safety in all of these various phases of life, a lot of the wisdom that we're seeking comes to us. It emerges within us. And when we feel safe, and when we feel grounded, and our nervous system is regulated, and we're in harmony with what's actually happening, we're living in our experience. So we're not looking outward toward anyone else, wishing like, you had their life, or you were at that place in life that they are, but you're actually able to use the moment that you're in as a great teacher. And in that way, you have a lot of reverence for it. And that is how you create openness or movement in this seemingly constricted or dead place. So really, I think what the High Priestess is representing, there can still be movement in death. There can still be resource in the desert. And we very much see that with the 3 cards that follow. So the 10 of Cups, the King of Wands, and the 3 of Wands. So there's tons of fire energy here, right? Fire is our chi, our eros, the birds and the bees in nature. Like, this is our life force. And so it's still very present underneath and within this down or this death process. So it's not something you have to run from anymore. You actually get to reintegrate it into being a part of your very normal and healthy, full life, right? This is how we create a feeling of wholeness, by not trying to cut ourselves off from any experiences, any emotions that we're feeling, or any natural processes. And I just want to say really quickly, so the King of Wands is super clear, and he's like kind of, it feels like he's ready to spring up and step into action. And with the 3 of Wands, we're taking a pause. So there's a bit of like creative tension here, or sacred opposites. There are things that you are going to have to do. There are maybe really simple things, or things on your to-do list that you've been avoiding, but you're coming at them from a new way. You're coming at them from a very grounded, sacred, reverent place. Like, you have intent behind everything that you do. You're not just going to the grocery store, right? Like, everything is this like mystical journey for you right now, because the veil is so thin. You've lifted the veil, and you're really in touch with the mystical state. And so what this is telling me is, like, when you slow down and take the pauses that you want to take, like saying the prayer before you go into the bank or the grocery store, whatever it is, or even really what this also is saying is like rooting your action toward your bigger purpose, rooting it toward what's actually true for you, like the genuine desires of your heart. When you do that, you come out on top. You come out feeling really secure with who you are, grounded, stable, and resourced. And I think that's the biggest thing, is like behaving in this way, like taking pause before you act, taking pause before you say something or make a communication, and really holding your energy with the highest integrity. It allows you to feel victorious, to feel like you have everything you could ever possibly need. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you in the next one.